Darien, let's roll with you first. Who is your front runner and who is your dark horse at this moment?
I like Hendon Hooker. I think he's got the best story in college football. Transfer quarterback from Virginia Tech, goes in there and wins the job. He split reps last year, won the job towards the end of the season, played well, came back. Like, to me, the epitome of the process, came back for this year, came back ready, has led that team as best as anybody's led their teams in this country. And you take him off the Tennessee team, they ain't Tennessee. So I feel like he's the most valuable player on that team. And to me, is putting himself in that top 5, top 10 quarterbacks in this year's draft. And like, he knocked out the big dog. And
who's your dark horse?
I don't know if it's a dark horse, but I think CJ Stroud has a case too. To me, he has the case. Hendon Hooker. If I'm a Heisman voter, if Hendon Hooker goes and knocks off Georgia, I think after that, I don't care what he does in the SEC championship. To me, you go knock off Bama and Georgia in the same season after you haven't beat neither one of those teams in a long time.
Yeah, that's
and you're playing well. I don't know how you could give anybody else the Heisman but him. Now, Clint, flip side, we'll see.
Clint, my man does make a point. That's some slaying. If you slay the Roman army and the White Walkers in the same season, and you're wearing burnt orange, that's something. A proud program that's been in the wilderness for a couple decades. That's some slaying. Clint, who would your front runner be? And then if not him, who?
It's Hendon Hooker for me. I mean, he went from on the outside looking in. He was standing outside the red velvet ropes trying to get in the candle room, baby. And in one game, his ass went straight to there's the tables. The tables were elevated a little bit. That last table was elevated 2 steps. You know what I mean? Like 2 levels. Just stood up about 6-8 inches higher than everybody else. Hendon Hooker walked. He was out there trying to get behind the red velvet ropes. His ass got in the ropes and went straight to the VIP table. The number 1 VIP table in the bunch. And so I think Hendon Hooker's the front runner for me. There's no debating, in my opinion, what he's done. I mean, beating Alabama, they beat Florida, they beat Kentucky. They've beat up some really, really quality football teams, and they've got the most impressive win to date in college football. And they did it on his shoulders. 385 yards, 5 touchdowns. And if you watch the football game, there's no question about it.
It was a complete performance. I will give you this. Alabama, if you go in and beat the Roman army, it does vault you straight to New York. Cam Newton beat them when they were number 1 undefeated. Wow. Manziel beat them when they were number 1 and undefeated. And Joe Burrow beat them. They weren't number 1, but they were undefeated when Burrow went in and got them. A big-time, prime-time performance against these guys, it does bode well. I still say CJ Stroud. It's just, to me, Hooker had that big moment, took clear advantage of it. And, it's just like hitting 4 home runs, when the whole nation's watching. But CJ Stroud, to me, is the best player in college football with Bryce Young on his ass. So, I mean, this is going to be a lot of drama. Real quick, give me one guy, non-quarterback. Clint, give me a non-quarterback.
Oh, non-quarterback. Good gosh. Now you get into these guys. Blake Corum, I guess, at Michigan, putting up huge numbers. I don't know, man. I'm gonna be honest with you.
Darien.
I like Jahmyr Gibbs. Look, I'll tell you what. You asked me to do this. You asked me to have who's my favorite, Hendon Hooker. CJ Stroud's nipping at his tail. And I think the one guy in America that we're not talking about that could potentially get in is my man out at UCLA. I think if they continue to make the run that they're making and they run the table.
That's not the LA quarterback I thought you were going to bring. I like that. DTR, a little love for the Bruins. Darien, give me a non-quarterback.
My front runner was not front runner, but like non-quarterback was Jahmyr Gibbs. Because I feel like through Alabama season, Bryce Young is the best player on the team, but you take him off that team, I think they might have 2 losses. And their closest games this year, he's been the brightest spot on their team. So if they can rally back, like I said, win that SEC championship, I think he could get an invite.
Hey, here's the deal. Here's the deal, D. You're spot on. The problem with Gibbs, I went back and looked. He ain't got the numbers to get invited. But if you really, I mean, if we're really talking ball,
if you watch the tape.
Oh, I agree. But we ain't talking about me and you. We're talking about what I love about what Jahmyr Gibbs has done. He doesn't have the resume right now. I don't think to be that guy.
Right.
But what I love is the minute that Bryce Young went down, he went for 206 on the road against Arkansas and helped them win the game late.
Yep.
Bryce Young can't play against A&M. He goes for $154.
Yep.
Tennessee, biggest game of the season for him. He goes $103 and then he had almost 10 yards a damn catch in catching the football, receiving. So I'm with you. That would be the one guy that I think on the out, not non-quarterback that I think we could talk about, but I don't know that he's got a resume to even get considered.
Any other team, he's in there. He's Alvin Kamara, but Michigan relies and counts on Corum. Gibbs is a big contributor, but they're not led by him.